Man, I am doing really
It's
good.
working now. It's amazing.
Awesome, awesome,
Yeah,
awesome. I
but
was
like,
just doing one of those instant confident boosting sessions. Anyway,
yeah, okay. So I agree. The high level play that we've been seeing recently is entertaining, not just for us, but it's on Sports Center.
let's talk about that. Now, the sportscasters, God bless them, um, they had never seen Guilty Gear, so all of a sudden they see Guilty Gear, but you could tell by the passion and the commentating and the context around everything that they knew what was happening.
Yes.
And then there are guys like, now I play games. I've never seen any of those weird Japanese games, but you can see here, this is what happened. The fighting game community. This is Evo. It's the biggest fighting game competition ever in the world, and this is what happened. It made it on SportsCenter. It counts, even though they had never heard of Guilty Gear before in their life.
Yes, and on top of that, the fact that it was Guilty Gear.
It wasn't Street Fighter. It wasn't Tech. It wasn't Ryu.
It wasn't Marvel.
It wasn't Blanca. It was what's the guy that's like a he's like blackness. He's like looks like a pirate. Like I'm not really completely familiar with Guilty Gear.
Are you talking about Zato?
I think
No,
so.
I don't think it was
Well,
Zato. But
because
I get what you're saying. It
because
was Milia, right? Milia Rage, and
yeah,
I think it was Zato One, man. I don't know. Let me
I
look
don't
it
know
up. Yeah, it was
who's
Zato
the
One. It
chick.
was
She
Zato
wears like
One.
yellow. You see, now I'm just outing out my complete ignorance on Guilty
It was
Gear.
Milia versus Zato, because Zato's the guy who has a demon around him. He's
That's
blind.
the one.
Yeah, it's Zato
Yeah.
One, and I believe it was Milia Rage, the girl with the hair.
Yes. Yes. So that goes to tell you, I don't even know who these characters are. Um, but that sucker made it to Sports Center, and if you haven't seen that, it's hilarious.
I did watch
I
it. I
forget
watched
the
it on
words.
eHubs. You sent me the link.
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna like forward that to anyone who I know who is interested, just because it's hilarious, poignant. It's a good lesson, and it made it to freaking Sports Center, man.
Yeah, it's about time that gaming like is kind of shunned, but if we can just get funny moments like that out and people can see the passion that the players have and just the skillful play. That's the problem with a lot of the announcing with fighting games and people getting into fighting games because you can see basketball and appreciate it because we're taught how to play basketball in school, growing up. You can
Yeah.
see tennis, even sports like badminton, where people kind of joke about it, and it's like, yeah, you know how to play, you know how difficult it can be, all the running or whatnot. For fighting games, it's like people sitting in a chair, and it's not until you sit down with somebody and show them how difficult it is to do even the most basic things that they gain an appreciation. But if we can have hype moments like this, like some dude standing up too early, or the Daigo moment where you can see it and visualize
Yeah.
and hear the passion and the excitement,
The, and the
that would be
energy.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's the energy is key.
Yeah. And, with a lot of sports, it's like this with UFC. When the UFC was new, they were fortunate to stumble across this guy called Joe Rogan,
Mhm.
who wasn't a fighter, but he himself loved fighting. But he was the color guy, and just like with every sport, they have a color commentator because
Yeah.
the other commentator knows what's going on, but it's the color commentator that can really break it down out of firsthand knowledge. And Joe, who had loved fighting all his life, he was really, big on watching the early UFC and in Pride. What he made it was accessible for everybody because in MMA, there's a lot of different moves out there, and people might not know some of the rules or some of you think it's pretty clear cut. But when Joe breaks it down, you're like, oh, that's a guard. Oh, okay, he's trying to do this. Oh, he's trying to break it down. That made it more accessible for people. Then when people watch in a bar or whatever, and they hear Joe Rogan, and they can hear the energy and they can hear the passion of jujitsu, which nobody knew anything about jujitsu. But when he started breaking it down because he has a love of jujitsu, it made it easier for people to follow along. So that's why we need good commentating to get out there to break it down for someone who's watching. Now, and it's just so important so that people, like you said, when they sit down and they break